So what do I mean when I say simulation? What is the simulation? The simulation for me is not a program code run on a higher intelligence's computer that has a programmer who is programming the simulation and using resources and optimizing it to run it. For me, the simulation is what Buddhists may call samsara and nirvana, what others may call Vishnu's dance, what some may call a song or a dream. The universe, or the simulation, which consists of many universes, is just a self-created creator. It is an absolute energy that is dividing itself so that it can optimize and understand and compute itself, looking for answers, looking for information. And that information is about the creation. It is trying to self-sustain and self-replicate, self-explain, self-interact. Some may ask then, what is God in this simulation? I'd say what Christianity would say. God is you. And it's just you don't know it. It's that piece of creation that comes from the creator that doesn't know it's the creator itself creating itself. Problem is that it's so mind-boggling that our language cannot possibly explain it, but many do understand it. It is self-contained and self-created. It is a reality creating machine, but it's not really a machine. Imagine you have, let's take the sun for example, but not the sun as we know it from NASA's views of it and scientific views of it. Just as a normal human being, as imagine yourself as a child, look at the sun and what do you see? You see one blinding bright ball. Now imagine this is you, but it's so blinding that you cannot look at yourself for too long, and you cannot understand yourself by looking at yourself in this way. So you need to put in filters. You could either get dark red glass and look through the red glass filter, or you could get a compact disc and look at the filter there. You could get blue filter, yellow filter, different kinds of mixes of filters, and that's we're talking only about visible light as examples. But all those filters are like if the sun was currently conscious and an entity and would say, oh, I want to look at myself, so I want to look at myself in the most richest variations possible, and it starts producing these filters through which it wants to look at itself, but says, I don't know how to look at myself, I need a mirror. Put some mirror behind those filters, and the mirror is you. Or it replicates itself. It just takes one bit, sends it out, takes another bit, sends it out, a infinite numbers of bits out of it that are just going out, doing an experience of itself, interacting between themselves and finding out what they are. And this is the simplified way to explain it. But once you are it and you know you are it, you can only sustain that understanding so much, because it then vanishes. It vanishes because you can understand your true self through others, your copies or replicas, for as long as that understanding comes from others. You realize that you are divisible and you've devised yourself. Then you are no longer yourself. So then that is what God is. It's the creator and the creation. And what I mean the simulation is, it's not that God has created a big computer program, run it on his big computer, or it's not a ultra mega advanced consciousness or entity from the future. It is this energetic, self-born energetic field that is recreating itself constantly. And when I say simulation, that is just a tiny little fracture of diluted senses that are stretched like elastic band that would allow you to look between the pores of the rubber before it collapses back. That is like air, which is everywhere, and you can encapsulate it in a little Kinder Surprise egg and say, oh, this is an entity right here, but it's just a boundary that is holding the same thing that is everywhere in it. And this boundary is what actually we are, or what reality is. It is the construct that keeps us from not being able to experience ourselves, if that makes sense. Alright, what you have is a artificially created understanding, which is a misunderstanding, a boundary that keeps people in the loop of duality, that it is you alone who are experiencing something external to yourself. And that boundary is what is the illusion and reality, we call it, or simulation is. That boundary is the simulation. If you remove that boundary, if you remove that simulation, if you remove that illusion, or quote unquote reality, what you have is then yourself, back to yourself. And you cannot explain yourself because you have no walls on which to project your understandings and assumptions. And that is what I thought would share shortly about what reality or God are, I think. And maybe if you watch my other videos and get used to the lack of visuals and perhaps resolve to just put me on the background to listen rather than watch this monotone talking head with no animations on it, you're welcome, more than welcome to watch my other theories as I'm digitally philosophizing and theorizing on the modern stuff.